Hoi en welkom bij de RetailTrends podcast. De podcast waarin we in gesprek gaan met opvallende retailers over hun geleerde lessen in hun carrière. Mijn naam is Aniek van Damme en vandaag eigenlijk een hele bijzondere uitzending. Want ik zit hier met een retailmastodont, mag ik wel zeggen. 15 jaar CEO van lingerie en fashionbrand Hunkemöller. En hij gaat nu afscheid nemen. Hij zwaait af. Iemand die absoluut zijn strepen heeft verdiend. En ook zoveel mensen geïnspireerd heeft dat ik ook wel mag zeggen dat hij de sector gevormd heeft. Ja, een groot applaus allemaal voor Philip Mountford. Hi.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah. So Philip, you've been 15 years CEO of Hunkemöller.
Indeed.
You've been living 15 years in the Netherlands. Shall we switch to Dutch?
Yeah, let's do it now. It'll be a very short interview though.
Yeah, will it?
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, my two young ones, their first language is Dutch. So I'm having to start to learn a bit more because they say things that they don't want Papa to hear. So yeah.
Ah, okay. They're
Yeah.
smart kids.
Yeah.
Smart kids.
Yeah.
So it's a strange week for you, right? You had the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
You had a goodbye party yesterday.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that. How was it?
Yeah, it was fantastic. We flew people in, or I didn't know they flew people in because it was a surprise. My daughter turned up as I was kind of insulting her on stage.
Insulting her on stage?
Yeah, but my daughter has used my PA like her own PA, and I was basically making fun of her, and then suddenly she popped out.
Oh.
So it was quite emotional. I'm super close to her, so it was amazing. But it was a long night but a very fun night. Yeah, but the team made me a book. They've made me, I think, a 200-page book. It's amazing, I have to assure you.
And what's inside
With
the book?
quotes from people like Sylvie, Doubtser, my whole team, people I've known in the industry. It is, I have to assure you, team, it's like a work of art. It's a real proper coffee table, and I'm super proud of it.
Nice. Yep. So was that the last time that you went to the office and had a day at work? Or?
No, I work really until my last day, which is January 31st. I have a meeting all the way until 4:00 on Wednesday. So they've optimized every minute. Let's just say that. Yeah.
As long as we have him on board.
We're gonna make him work. Yeah. No.
And also the Lifetime Achievement Award. Can you tell us about that? What makes this a special recognition for you?
I think all awards are really important. People say they're not, and I've always said they're not that important, but actually in the end that they are. I've won CEO award in the UK and I won it in Holland. But to win the Lifetime Achievement Award, it really is special. To be honest with you, I think it's even more special than the CEO award because people are recognising what you've done for the last. I came into the industry very young. I came into the fashion industry when I was 17. Didn't go to university. I did my degree later on in life. And, so I've been in the industry for a long period of time, 42 years. And, it's been fantastic. I've really loved every minute of it. And I tell a story. When I started with myself and one other guy and 20 girls. And I was 17, he was 19. And the girls had all come from university and they were 22, 23. And you suddenly realise that how big a gap there is in knowledge and life. And we sat around a big boardroom table and they said, what do you want to be? And one girl would say HR director, one would say I want to be managing director, I want to be this. Got to me and they said, Philip, what do you want to be? And I said, employed. And everybody laughed. They thought I was the joker, but I didn't even know what these terminologies was. But I fell in love with the industry and I've loved every minute of it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yep.
Well, let's talk about your time in the industry. I mean, we've been following you and Hunkemöller, of course, as RetailTrends. And we thought it would be nice to wrap up these 15 years, like 40 years in general, into like 30 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah, right? Perfect
Indeed.
fit. It's not easy because, I mean, you have so much done. You've done so much in this industry. So let's talk about how you navigated the company and with your strategy and unparalleled leadership, navigating it. Yeah, through some milestones in your career.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Hunkemöller because I think it's really something quite close to people's heart. I came here for 2 years. I was brought in by a guy called Tony D'Annunzio, who was the chairman of Maakte, and it was a 2-year gig.
We're talking about 2009, right?
Yeah, we're talking about 2009. It was a 2-year gig. They said, Philip, come in. I just run a very large public business in the UK that owned a lot of franchises for Hugo Boss, Canali, etc. Sold that and then basically came here. And it was really just, it was meant to be a turnaround. So they said, Philip, you just need to tidy it up, write a strategy, prune prune the bush, and we can sell it.
So what happened? What made you?
And what happened? We got to the end, and we were selling it, and basically I was sitting in a restaurant with my wife, because you're never involved in the last bit of a negotiation. It's always the owners, and they said, we're sending you something for you to look at, Philip. So I looked at it and said, guys, you've made a mistake. It says I'm staying. They said, yeah, but they won't buy it, Philip, unless you stay. I said, sorry, guys, that wasn't my deal. My deal is I'm going. And they said, and we cut a deal, and I stayed, and then I fell in love. Yeah, I really did. I fell in love, and it went from being a job to being a love affair.
And what made you fall in love?
Don't know. Why do we all fall in love? We don't know, do we? Certainly, there's suddenly a connection, and it stopped being a job, and it became a vision. And I wrote this beautiful strategy. We built a store in Rotterdam in the new concept, and I sold a dream, and then suddenly I had to make that dream come true.
Well, let's talk about that dream a bit more closely, because when the first interview I think that RetailTrends had with you, you had the ambition of, well, there were 350 shops back then already, but you had the ambition of, let's see what we had here. The aim was to go for 1,500 shops.
I get quoted that. I think at one point I even said 1,650. So let's, and the world has changed, and digital really it grew so rapidly that, and don't get me wrong, stores are still incredibly important to everybody. They're not dead. They're really not dead, and physical stores will stay alive. I mean, let's be honest. Our digital business has really grown. We've got nearly 40% of our sales are digital. It's fantastic. We've got every single element on click and collect, check and reserve, order in store, return to store, fulfillment from store, dispatch from store. So every element of an omni-channel business, we have it. But still, people like touching product. And one day you want to touch it, and the next day you want to do it through Omni. So it's for us. It is the customer. We've built a business where the customer decides how she's going to interact with us. Yeah, and I made big statements, and they have come back to haunt me. Where somebody said, Philip, you've got now just under 1,000. You said you were going to get to 1,650. At that time, that was our vision, and then the world changed, and digitalization became one of the key drivers to it. And now I still believe in stores. I truly believe in stores. I really believe in that physical touch point. Like
a ideal hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a lot of the pure players, they're all opening stores, and people who are traditional stores are building their omni-channel suite.
Yeah,
and I think it's you can't be one or the other. You basically have to link it together.
Well, when it comes to e-commerce, there was a time you were pioneering as well, right?
Yeah, we were really one of the first to do a lot of these things. We put click and collect, check and reserve, order in store before most people hadn't even heard about it. And everybody catches up, and that's what it is. We've got technology in stores. We've got, our people can order product in stores. So we've really added technology.
Yeah, can you elaborate a bit more on one technology that you introduced and that you've seen that your competitors followed this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were really one of the first people to do click and collect. Basically, at the end of the day, no one had ever heard of click and collect when we first did it. Coming from the UK and the US, they're so much further ahead than they were at that point than Europe. Now everybody's caught up. The world is caught up. There's basically globalization has meant that we're all aware of everything. So we were one of the first people to do basically paid social media people, where we paid them as affiliates. We did links, so in effect that you could see it on their social media and then drop into our webpage.
Yep.
We were one of the first people to put iPads so that basically all our staff could order in store and actually combine a product being bought in a store and something bought digitally in one receipt, which was, people can do it now. It's easy, but when we did it, we were really one of the first. So, we did return to store when no one was doing return to store. Somebody said to me, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? It costs you more money. I said, yeah, but if you return it to store, there's a really high chance that you will buy something else. So again, it's creating all of those journeys to make sure that you're really focusing on the customer.
When it comes to click and collect, I can definitely imagine that the industry where you're in, when you buy a bra, that you want some advice.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a big benefit, I think, of the product that you're selling.
Years ago, what we did, we had a fantastic marketing director, and we created sexy comes in all shapes. So we created basically a fit. So everybody has size, 75C, and then basically we created a shape. So we created perfect plunge, delicious demi, etc. And so you went from size, you went to shape, and then we went to cup. So you know that you're a 75C, perfect plunge, and you're a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
So we basically have reduced returns on the back of it because you know that cup fits you. So we can cover the cup with lace, we can cover it with micro, we can make it look different, but the cup is the cup. So, we basically changed the lingerie industry. And again, they've all followed. Don't get me wrong, and the world is quick to follow. They see things, they go, crumbs, this is clever. They've reduced their returns because lingerie is so difficult. I mean, you can be a 75B with us and a different size with somebody else. So that's why people don't leave lingerie retailers very often as a customer because they go, this fits me. I feel comfortable in this. Therefore, I don't want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. So if you have a relationship with the brand, you stay there.
Yeah.
But I mean, your target group was once for a very long time, I think 28.
Yep. We don't talk about age anymore, but you're exactly right. When I came, our average customer was 45, and we did something that could easily bankrupt a business. We basically fundamentally changed the aging profile of the customer. So we moved it from mid-40s to basically early 20s. So normally that can easily bankrupt the business. It's not easy moving. And we were still an oil tanker in Benelux, okay? We weren't globally, but in Benelux we were one of the dominant parties. But we were seen as one of the lesser things. So we were seen as a cheap Lavera. We were this sort of tatty little business. And we transformed the business. Age is irrelevant now because women do not get old like they used to get old. If you speak to a 50-year-old woman, in her mind, she's less than 30, and she wears clothes that she would have worn when she was 30. So age is a very you've got to be careful about age.
Quite a bold decision, right? To change that strategy.
If you ask me today, I was probably too brave. It was exactly the right decision, but it could have easily gone wrong. I have to be honest with you.
What would you advise other retailers on changing, adjusting your target group?
To be honest, today I was on a conference call talking to somebody that is actually trying to do that. And I said, there are other ways of doing it. Sometimes you can create sub-brands to do that. You don't always have to move the mothership. You can actually create, in effect, a child, etc., so that, in effect, you don't damage the mothership. So you've got to be careful. Every business you do differently. With Hunkemöller, we were brave. I was early 40s. I was a bit of a maverick, and I believed at that time that basically everything could be changed. Okay, I'm older, wiser, and I probably wouldn't do it today. Okay? No, I mean, I probably would have created a sub-brand or done something else. So what we did was exactly right. We brought in Sylvie van der Vaart. She was an icon at that time. She was known in every country because of her husband's football. And, she really helped us define the brand. Really did,
So I think back then, what year are we talking about when Sylvie was?
It would have been about 2010. So she was on basically every TV show in Holland and Germany. Raphael was playing Super Soccer.
Yeah.
Everything was aligned. We really had our stars aligned at that time.
Well, also social media came up in that
exactly.
period,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And I think that was like a bridge when influencer marketing really got.
Yeah. And we were early adapters to that. So we were really early adapters going into Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all those elements. We were really the sort of groundbreakers on that.
How do you look at the development from the start of influencer marketing to the world we live in right now with so many macro, micro, huge amount of money being paid to these people? How do you look at this way?
Yeah, I mean, still it's so important for us. I mean, actually, we have the mega stars, we have micro, we have macro, and we have nano influencers. So all of them doing different roles within it.
So nano is like
is the person that has basically only about 20,000. They are the most important for us.
20,000?
Yeah, around 20 to 40,000. So they are the ones where people believe they know them. They really go, and they probably are connected to them with a friend of a friend in a village. And when those women say, this is my best bra ever, That's when we see physical cash sales. Then you got the people at the top, Sylvie, Doubtser, Danielle, Anna Nushin, all these people we worked with before. They are great at showing the brand in a much broader spectrum, but you need somebody who you can touch and you go, if she says it's cool, then I want to buy it.
Yeah, like a friend who's
It's a friend.
you.
It's like, exactly. They see them as friends. So you need all of those different layers in the cake to make a great cake. Yeah.
How do you look at the future of influencer marketing? When
I still think it's not going to go away. It's really not going to go away. The one thing that I'm disappointed with, we all believed that Instagram buy button was going to be the eureka moment in life. My daughter said to me, it was terrifying because her credit card at that point was attached to me, and she would say, "I've seen a pair of shoes, and when I go on the website, I can't find them." Thank goodness.
But that's crazy, right?
Yeah, and then what you could do, you went on that. You can go onto Instagram now. You click on it, and you drop onto the product on the landing page.
So easy, yeah.
So easy, but it's never really taken off. It's really strange. So every time we've got a great intern program, and every time I say, how many of you have bought from an Instagram buy button? Out of 70 people, 2 or 3 say yes. So it shows you. We all thought this was going to be eureka, and it's not been. Still, in cash terms, Facebook is probably still one of our biggest influences on money. Not on basically spreading the word, but basically on transactions. So you need a bit of everything. We need TikTok, which is very difficult to measure how much influence you get from it. Instagram is much more easy for us to measure physical purchasing behavior on the back of it. Yeah.
Interesting what you say about that buy button on Instagram. I mean, it's one of the many ways we have of e-commerce or doing a purchase online. With all the options that we have nowadays, what do you think are the most impactful developments you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think the buy button we all believe was going to be one of the most influential elements, and phones getting bigger.
Yeah.
Also, we've got 80-something% of all of our people looking at our website are coming through a phone.
Yeah.
Okay?
So mobile
first, and
the
size of the phone is really important because and the pixels. So previously, you had a much smaller screen. It was difficult to see the product, and basically they saw it on the phone and went and bought it from a desktop. And then there's that period of time where you go, "Do I love it?" When you get to your laptop or your desktop, you go, okay.
Yeah.
So now you have your computer in your hand, okay? And MCOM is the future. MCOM is really the future. So that's where it's all going to happen. If you look at China, it started in MCOM and moved into eCom.
Well, if you talk about MCOM and the next big thing, I mean, we also think foldables can have a big impact the coming years to come.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, the world is changing, and being able to speed a phone, the technology in phone, it's a computer now. It's not a phone; it's a computer, and that means your banking details are there. All of those things were previously people were scared to put their banking details into a phone. Now everybody's paying with Apple Pay. You can click on it, you can buy, you can drop in, you can push the button, bang, and you've paid.
Yeah.
So all of these things. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to take out all of the layers to make it easier for somebody to purchase. The more layers you have in, the more time somebody has to think, do I really need this or do I want this? The less layers are, the quicker the purchase. Yeah, simple as that.
So with so many options, can you tell us a bit about your approach to trial and error? Invest in new technologies versus only go for the one that's...
No, we've done some. At the end of the day, we've also been groundbreaking. We've invested in technology. Not always get it right. I saw something in a trade show, and I said, "This is fantastic." Basically, you walk in the store. It's when basically Bluetooth was switched on. It could actually see your last purchase, and it would throw it up onto a screen. Within 1 week, we had to switch it off because we had complaints from customers saying, "I don't want people to see what I bought on a big screen."
So was it on the screen?
Yeah, on the big screens in our, and it was. I thought it was super technology. I thought it was really clever, And within 1 week, we had so many complaints with people saying, "I don't want somebody to walk in the store and see what I bought on my underwear." And we hadn't thought about it. I just got carried away with what I thought was a really cool idea. And but what's been clever? We have, I think, our biggest USP is our loyalty program. So 79.7% of every transaction is done through our loyalty program. So we can monitor you. We've just built the most amazing data lake.
So how is the loyalty program built up?
It's basically you get passion points, and those passion points revert into either discount or prizes, etc. And basically, it means that we can really see your whole purchasing behaviour, and then we can map you against a lookalike customer and optimise you. So we were really one of the first. I'd love to tell you I invented it. I didn't. My predecessor basically his idea was we can get a plastic card and we can sell it for €1. Okay, and then people can use the card to basically get discount. And then later on, we suddenly realised that this was amazing because we sold 1 million cards. Also made €1 million for only the price of plastic. And then we suddenly realised that it was our marketing director said, "Philip, this is gold. This is gold. What we can do is we can build a database." And then this is really early days where email marketing was new.
Yeah,
we're
I think
talking
I was one of the owners of this one.
I mean, it was amazing. And then we built that up, and of course it then moved into a digital card. We can data mine you. We can personalize it to you. We can, as you drop onto our website, we've got Salesforce. We've got Einstein. The website, basically moves to what your preferences are. All of those things. But that's all common practice now. When we did it, it was really new. Yeah.
I mean, also in loyalty cards, there are so many developments. Loyalty programs.
Yeah.
What is something? I mean, I really love the story where you told about the screen.
Yeah.
Which didn't work out.
No.
Was there also in the whole loyalty program development something that didn't work?
I mean, there's always things that don't work. I mean, the problem is about loyalty is, a whole idea is stopping churn. That's the biggest thing. So, we've got 5.3 million active members. We've got 12 million total members. We can basically really personalize to you. We can data mine you. At some point, people also go, "You know too much about me." Certainly not the Dutch, not the Belgians, but the Germans are much more conscious about data. They really are. And as you get more personal and more deep, some people don't like that. It becomes intrusive. So they really are personalising this to me. How much do they really know about me? We know a lot. Because
I've read somewhere that you really like arguments that are based on research, right? Before you make a decision.
Yeah.
That's a really important thing
really
in your
is. And for me, loyalty has been really our silver bullet. It's been the thing that really has defined us and basically made us different from other lingerie retailers and fashion retailers. Again, we were really one of the first. Loyalty programs was food and department stores. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah. We took it, and we were really one of the first people to have a loyalty program. At the level that we've got, where nearly 80% of every sale is done by somebody we know, and we can track you. It means the business is much more constant. We can plan better. And I think loads of other people have done it now. So now it doesn't feel that unique, but when we did it, it was really unique.
So we've talked about the year that you entered the business, 2009. We've talked about e-commerce, MCOM, and the future of that, how that will be. But let's also talk about 2017, because that was in many ways an interesting year for the company. You opened new shops in China.
Yep. Yeah.
How is that going?
Well, that was should have been a great strategy, and then of course COVID hit.
Yeah.
We made a really clearly defined plan. We had two big growth markets: Russia, which we've now closed 100%. But it was one of our biggest growth markets there was. They're huge lingerie purchasers in the Russian market. It's got 150 million people with a very large female population, far greater than any other continent. And then we had China. And then, we started to build China, and then COVID. closed everything down. Our CEO for Asia was based out of Hong Kong. And then suddenly, halfway through COVID, he had to move from Hong Kong to Shanghai because you couldn't travel. And then he was apart from his family for, I think, nearly 9 months. Before the market opened up. We were unable to manage it.
How did that impact the business?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, we closed the Chinese operation down. Only because we just couldn't. No one could ever get there. It was such a disappointment because it was such a great market. It was great opportunity. Will the business go back in it? Probably they will do in the future. It probably will be a market that we will go back into. It was just one of those.
So you closed everything down there.
Yeah, we just could not get there for nearly 3 years.
Yeah,
and it's impossible to run a business.
You also partnered up with Alibaba at that time.
Yeah,
right?
and
could that continue?
Yeah, that continued. We still got that. That's a good thing. And out of that, we also built a relationship with JD, and now JD run all of our logistics in the whole of Europe. It's super great partnership. So there are some great things have come out. We moved into wholesale, which we'd never done before. We controlled. So we basically sell our products to Zalando, to About You, to ASOS, to all the cool players. So that's another wing that we never had before. We've got
that was
marketplaces.
due to COVID?
And it came before COVID, but of course, all e-com got put onto steroids through that COVID period.
Yeah.
And we built a fantastic wholesale business through that period. Really did. And it's continued to grow. Yeah.
So that really was needed, actually, to get everybody on that mindset?
I think, to be honest with you, it changed the world.
Yeah.
Basically, it put e-commerce on steroids. It created a new business that we never had before, which is now a core element of our brand. We all have to learn. Beforehand, I wanted to control everything. We bought back all the franchisees, if you remember. So we bought back all our franchisees, and somebody said, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Because I want to control the whole customer journey. I want to be able to do click and collect. I want to do check and reserve. It's more difficult when you've got a franchise partner because who owns the sale, etc. You get into debates." I said, I want to have the same service proposition wherever a customer goes. So I want to own it all. Long term, I think, that's a great model for your core business, but actually we're also now looking at franchise in other countries. Wholesale has developed through COVID and is now a core element of our brand. Yeah.
When I think of COVID and Hunkemöller, also a letter came to mind.
I mean that COVID really changed our business. We again were one of the first people to say that we weren't going to pay rents. It caused, as you know,
that was the letter that I recall.
Yeah, so I'm sure. Yeah,
that's a letter to your real estate owners, right? The landlords that you refused to pay rent,
which went straight into the newspapers.
Yeah,
and we were heavily berated for it. I have to wish you. But then every other retailer followed us. Okay, so again, we were the first. This time, maybe we shouldn't have been the first, but we were the first. We just said, at the end of the day, why should we pay rent when the stores aren't open? It was a painful letter, I have to mention, which got basically.
Why was it painful?
Well, basically, it was used in all the press about this is how you shouldn't act. Actually, in the end, everybody followed us. And it became the norm, but we again were the first.
When you look back, do you regret that letter?
No, because I think it meant that Hunkemöller as a business survived, and I had to look after 7,500 employees. I also have a responsibility. And I think, we all needed to share something. We all needed to share the pain, and in most cases, and of course, in Germany, it became law. In the end, it was a 50-50 split. It became law. Some landlords, of course, took very brutal points. And, the high street has been damaged by, I think, some of the real estates, people being so dictatorial. And, look at it. And there are some high streets across Europe that are devastated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody, we've talked about COVID many times.
Yep.
How do you look back on it in general from a business perspective in one or two sentences?
I think, at the end of the day, we had this beautiful brand and we went into COVID and, the world changed. The world changed, and we all had to do things very fast, and things happened. So we were looking at digitalization and MCOM, and things that were on our roadmap for 3 years' time, we did in 3 months. It was incredible how quickly all of us, not just us, but I think CEOs did things that were on their 3-year plan in 3 months. All of us did. It wasn't just us. I think it was a defining moment. We talk about pre and post COVID now as a terminology, not just us, but the world.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through it again. I really don't. We sit here and at one point you go, will we survive? As a brand, will we survive? Not just Hunkemöller, but all brands. And I'm on a board of a number of different businesses, all of which were in similar positions where you sit there and suddenly the pipeline stops.
Yeah. A defining moment.
A defining moment.
Well, let's talk about another defining moment, the introduction of a second brand, the sportswear brand.
Yep. So HKMX, I think, has been fantastic. And I think, at the end of the day, we're going to do a big relaunch of it at the end of 2024 again and really push it again. I think it's really added another dimension to our business. We've got a number of sub-brands. We've got Private, which through COVID did amazing. I can't tell you.
It's like more sexy.
Yeah, very, very sort of more slightly bedroom lingerie. And through COVID, that went through the roof. I mean, we went from 15 million to 50 plus million.
Another win from that
Another
period.
Another win. And of course, it's now slowed down because people are going out. They don't need to stay in to have fun. HKMX really also benefited through COVID because everybody started taking up sport. Yeah. And if they weren't taking up sport, they were wearing leggings at home. Again, and again, through COVID, our non-wired bra was, which is called the Freedom, was fantastic. I mean, really amazing, because people wanted a bra, but they wanted something that was comfortable at home. So, things come out of this, and through that period of time, shapewear nearly died because basically you only wear shapewear when you're going out and you put it on a party dress, and that sort of fell away. And then suddenly it's come back like you've never seen.
So much happened when it comes to consumer behavior, of course, in that period.
Everything's changed.
Well, now you have one store, I think in Utrecht from HKMX.
Yeah.
You say we're going to reload the
so
brand
we're going to
again?
reload
What can we expect?
Yeah, so what we did, we opened standalone stores and then we decided that the brand wasn't strong enough, so we closed a lot of those and we brought it back into the mothership, and then we're going to keep it in the mothership because basically what it did, it really allowed us to, that consumer, and we sell a lot of sports bras. We sell close to 20 million euros worth of sports bras. It's really, but it wasn't strong enough to stand on its own, but it's very strong actually as an enhancer to our own store.
Yeah.
So,
we'll keep an eye out for that. So when we move further towards the present time, we have 2020. You led the company through a reorg.
Yep.
Yeah. Major changes in management as well. Every company, of course, has to deal with strategic redefining the structure of the company. What can you tell us a bit about the best decisions you made back then?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've made some. At the end of the day, what I've always done throughout my life is I've taken tough decisions. When I joined Hunkemöller, we took out nearly 40% of the whole of the head office in 40. Yeah, the business wasn't that big, but we took out 68 people. Really within my first 3 to 6 months. Okay, we had scenario A, scenario B, scenario C, and then scenario D, and we said we have to do scenario D. Sometimes when you prune back a tree, it's the best thing to do. It's and actually then what happens? It flourishes.
Yeah.
There is no straight line strategy. Let me tell you that. Okay. What happens is there's bumps in the road, and you have to change. And a strategy that you set. There are very few businesses do you set a strategy now for 10 years' time and you get to where you thought. It doesn't happen. You have things that get enhanced, you get things that fall away, and good businesses and good leaders change.
Can you be a bit more concrete about the decisions you made, the cutbacks that you did?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, so I said at one point we're going to have 1,650 stores.
Yeah.
I was at that point, that was a really clearly defined strategy, okay? Then e-com changed the world, okay? If we just stuck with 1650, we'd have been a business in the wrong place. So good leadership changes the strategy because basically the world changes. If you just sit there and say, our strategy is get from A to Z in a straight line, it doesn't happen. It really doesn't happen.
Just be resilient.
It's being resilient, change, see things in the market, and make sure you move first.
Yeah. So I read an interview with your global HR director back then. It was Anna Jake. And she said that the adrenaline was really high, the level and the pace in the company. And when it comes to the work-life balance, I mean, that's also a thing that is on your plate as well, right?
Yeah.
How do you reflect on that?
Anybody that knows me, I don't have a work-life balance, okay? But I'm not saying you should do things like I do. So I'm not asking people to work
So you're always at work, you mean?
I do more than 12 hours every single day. Okay? I'm not asking everybody else to do that. And Anna Jake was a game changer. She was an amazing woman, I can't tell you. Probably one of the most defining people in our business. I mean, she basically took HR from where it was to where we are today. She built L&D and she built an inclusion strategy and diversity strategy. And she did so much. She took us from basically doing all our training with words to everything in videos. She did little sound bites. She did some amazing things. I mean, she was a redefiner of our strategy. So this is not about Philip Mountford. This is about a great team. We're really a great team. So we've got an amazing product director. We've got an amazing digital director. It's not the Philip Mountford story. It's basically the Hunkemöller senior management team story.
But do you have you discussed? I mean, when you're still at work in the evening, quite late, and you send an email, do you expect an answer?
I think, unfortunately, I'm used to getting answers very quickly because my team don't switch off. Again, I'm not saying that's right. We've got a lot of adrenaline in our business. It's a fun business. People work really hard. They really do, and they work smart. We've got a team that is really driven and super passionate. People do come back very, very quickly, even quite late at night. We are a 24/7 business. You can buy a product any time of the day online. We have to problem solve, all the time, and standing still is not right for our business.
Yeah. So when it comes to a 12-hour workday, you're leaving. At this moment, you're leaving the company. What does that mean
Wednesday,
for your agenda?
It looks very lonely, I have to admit to you. So it will be very strange. This everybody says to me, "You're going to be back somewhere, not back at Hunkemöller, but back." I want time. I have the most amazing wife. I can't tell you. She was the fashion director at the Binkhoff. I want to spend time with her. Okay, we are only here once. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe for 80 years, maybe for less. You never know. And this is not a rehearsal. This is life, and I want to enjoy my life.
But that still involves the industry, right?
Yeah.
What are the plans? I mean, before we started this recording, you talked about some advisory roles you want.
Yeah, I've got some amazing advisory roles. So I'm the chairman of a beautiful brand called Needle and Thread, which is a luxury ladies' wear business in the UK. I'm on the board of Hoploon, which is the second largest lingerie manufacturer in the world. They have a family office which has 2 lingerie brands and a lingerie chain in China, which I'm on the board of.
It's called Dorina, right?
Yeah, they've got Dorina, they've got Scandell, and they've got 68, which I advise on all of those. And then basically I'm on the board of Taco, and there are 2 or 3 other advisory roles in the pipeline in different continents. So to give me a little bit of...
So we're going from a 12-hour workday towards a 15, 16-hour workday.
No. But at the end of the day, I want to change my life. I want to spend some time. I've got younger children that are 6 and 10, as well as a 29 and a 25-year-old. And, at the end of the day, it really is, we are only here once. I want to give my knowledge to businesses. I want to have fun. Will I be back in a full-time role? I really don't plan to be.
Well, maybe I can have a suggestion. I could do a suggestion for a next career path.
Yep.
I saw this video. It was from the webhelden diner with Sharon Hilgers from My Jewelry.
Yeah.
You are a great actor.
They did give me an Academy Award a few weeks ago because for something. And but yeah, to be honest with you, I
can see a James Bond or George Clooney kind of vibe here.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I say is, leaders are born and managers are made. Okay, and sometimes this upsets HR people, but I really do believe that charismatic leaders, if you look at them, they were also charismatic when they were at school, when they were kids, and doesn't mean that, at the end of the day, there's only one type of CEO. It doesn't. I've seen some amazing CEOs who are very strategic but not very charismatic, and I've seen incredibly charismatic people who then surround themselves with great operators. So, at the end of the day, people tell you, I love to talk, and I do, and I talk a lot.
When it comes to advisory roles, what do you advise other CEOs? Maybe with... Yeah.
I'm lucky that I've got a really diverse amount of people that on my advisory boards that I'm on. So I've got really charismatic founders. So Hannah at Needle and Thread, it's her business. She founded it. It's an amazing business. It's beautiful. And she wanted she needed different type of support. Then I look at Taco. It's a very structured business, and they needed somebody who could help them lift up the bonnet and really look at the engine. So I don't want to sit on boards and just shake my head and read the papers. I want to sit on boards where I can really add value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your successor is already announced, right?
Indeed.
It's Brian Gravy.
Yep.
He's going to lead the company into the future. I can imagine you have had a lot of conversations together. What is the most important advice you can give to him?
Yeah, he's a super talented guy and a super nice guy, and I think he will really add an incredible amount of value to this business. My biggest advice is listen to the customer and listen to the people on the coal face, the people in the stores, and he's doing that. I think that's really the best advice.
Yeah.
And the customer changes, so you can't just say this is what our business is for. Our business changes, and we've got to be fast and we've got to be nimble. And he is fast and he is nimble, and I think he's going to be a great leader.
Do you also have a general advice for leaders or maybe aspiring leaders to be?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, and I say to people, only do something you love, not something you like, but something you love. Okay, I think it's really important. We all spend a lot of time at work, so really do something that you really truly love. And I think at the end of the day, listen to the customer. It's really all about the customer. The customer doesn't know what they want. To be honest with you, they can't really articulate what they want, but they can tell you what they don't want, and they can give you some guidance. And then you've really got to have the vision to take their guidance and turn it into something that they're going to love. At the end of the day, when we talk to our customers, they can tell you what they bought. They can tell you what they love about what they bought, but they can't tell you what they want next season. They can't. Okay. If they did, they'd be designers. So really, it is only do something you love. And basically listen to the customer.
Nice. Well, listen to the people and don't damage the mothership.
Don't damage the mothership. Yeah, no.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.
And everything you've done in driving the business forward. Thank you so much. Philip Mountford.
Thank you.